the weekend. I guess Friday evening starts the weekend, right? I got a quote here. It's from an article called Move On from Positive Quotes for Every Day. And it's from Samuel Johnson, who says, "A wise person will make haste to forgive because they know the true value of time and will not suffer it to pass away in unnecessary pain." And the fact of the matter is, right, when we hold grudges, etc., the person we're hurting most is ourselves, because we're holding those negative feelings. And when we let the negative feelings go, well, all that stuff goes with it. And we are better physically, mentally, and spiritually. How about that? And the title of today's reading is Unity of All Life. The first quote is from I would say very famous Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor with a difference. He was a philosopher. And a lot of the stuff he wrote was actually for himself, but it has been used over the centuries as good language for anybody. And this is from his Meditations. He says, "All things are interwoven with one another, and the bond that unites them is sacred." And that was from chapter Roman numeral 7, paragraph or clause 9, whichever way you want to look at it. So way back then, almost 2,000 years ago, Marcus Aurelius was talking about all things being interwoven with one another. Then this idea goes back a long, long time, probably way before Marcus Aurelius as well. And Ernest Holmes, more to date in the past 100 years anyway, says, "We believe in the unity of all life." And that was from, of course, this month. Everything has been taken so far from what we believe. I was just thinking, Centers for Spiritual Living is the one group now that sort of encompasses religious science. There are groups outside of Centers for Spiritual Living that also follow the science of mind, religious science, philosophy. They're the main ones. And every month in the daily guides, every month in the Science of Mind magazines publish what we believe. And it's actually originally what Ernest Holmes believed. And I would say it's probably what most of us believe, because not every single person in religious science believes every single thing that's in that list of what we believe, which we're going through this month. And this is Reverend John Waterhouse, who says, "When Ernest Holmes proclaims his belief in the unity of all life, he is referring to the one divine presence that is expressing itself through every aspect of creation. The universe, or maybe it's the multiverse, the omniverse, we don't know. This negates any perception of separation. The appearance of separateness exists at the level of three-dimensional experience, but not at the level of cause." So in other words, they're saying things appear to be separate. I appear to be separate from you, and you appear to be separate from other people, and we appear to be separate from everything on this planet and everything in this universe. But in reality, at some deeper level, everything is interconnected. He goes on to say, Ernest Holmes is saying that all existence is the expression of one source, causing all things to be invisibly connected or interconnected. Nothing exists outside of this unity. When we embrace this understanding, our awareness of life changes. We can never again use the adage, "There but for the grace of God go I." Our new reality becomes, "There I go." And that takes me back to the poem that says, or at least in parts of it says, "Think not for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee." And we're going back several hundred years to see the source of that. "There but for the grace of God go I." It's not a bad expression. It's saying, look, in essence, this person went through some trials and they didn't come out of them very well. But if I didn't have the grace of God flowing through me, maybe that could have been me. But here he says, there go I. And the poem actually says, when somebody passes away, they ring the bell, right? There, but for the grace of God go I. No, he's saying, think not for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. And this is carrying on with Reverend John Waterhouse. He says, we become more sensitive to how we impact our planet and the way that we use its resources. So he moved on from interpersonal stuff to interrelationship with the planet. How we relate to those we have long called enemies, and how we see the world differently in so many other ways. Living in unity, and he means unity with everything, becomes a spiritual quest for experiencing cosmic love and for expressing greater depths of personal responsibility. It says, rather than living in a fragmented perception of life, we align our thoughts, our words, and our actions with a deeper sense of wholeness. Our very existence expresses as one living reality to which we all contribute. And that with regard to what we throw away, what we dispose of. As Americans, we get rid of a lot of stuff, and we're a lot more wasteful than most other countries, even other Western countries. And Western is a wacky expression, right? But you know what I mean by Western. So, yeah, even most other Western countries have a different perception on how we look at the Earth's resources. For instance, if you go to Europe and you go to a restaurant, you're going to see the portions that they serve are much smaller. And you'll also see that there's a lot less waste. Right? Number one, because the portions are smaller, but number two, people tend to be a lot more aware of how they use resources. I'm not saying that people in the US are not. A lot of us are aware of resources. We do recycle to the best we can, but there's still a lot of waste. And we can do our bit. And when all of us do a bit more, then it makes a big difference. So that's the end of my preaching. Bottom line to all of this is that everything is interconnected. There's one source that brought everything into existence. And it means that you are connected to me, I'm connected to you, we're all connected to every other single person, everything. And if you are to believe Ernest Holmes, he will tell us that there is a group human subconscious mind, a group human subjective to which we are all part, and that there is probably a world mind, and there's a galactic mind, the Milky Way galaxy, and there's a universal mind, to which everything is connected. So anyway, that's my offering for today. I'll be back tomorrow with something different, but from the same source, what we believe, and we'll see how that goes. And I am deliberately not reading in advance. So I'm one with all life. Life is God's life now. Take your pick, use them both, and there you are. Look out for Reverend Lisa tomorrow at 9:15. Look out for me tomorrow, hopefully around about 5 o'clock. And this is the end of my short presentation today. And I'll be with you tomorrow. And my knowingness for everyone here is a wonderful rest of the day, whenever that day turns out to be, and whatever day that you are in right now. Namaste.